Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. So today we are here with one more interview experience. So today I am going to share my interview experience with Synechron Technologies. So my name is Rajesh. So I'm basically a full stack developer working in with currently working with Synechron Technologies. So I'm going to share my interview experience today. So if at all you are not aware of these companies, please do research. This is one of the finest companies in the market because they pay very good salary. They work on the latest technologies. Like if you're technically enthusiastic guy, please do try to apply if there are any opportunities that are currently available. You can go to their careers portal and you can see if there are any vacancies there, and they really take care of their employees in a very good manner. This is completely based on my personal experience. I am saying this. So in this video I'll be sharing you the interview process that I have underwent at Synechron Technology and the interview questions that I have been encountered, like what are interview questions that I have faced in the interview. I'll be sharing you all those things. So firstly I would like to talk about the interview process. So coming to the interview process, there were three technical rounds. Like first one was with completely on core Java side, then the second round was on the framework, then the third round was on the configuration part, like how different modules or different components of our application are communicating with each other. So this was about the technical, this was about the interview process. Then I would like to give a quick introduction of ourselves, like who are we and what we do here. So we are basically a bunch of software engineers. Like we are basically friends who are attending different interviews with different MNCs and sharing our interview experiences through these videos. We hope that this might be helpful to at least few people who are looking out for similar kind of videos. So if you haven't subscribed our channel, I would request you to please do subscribe, because there are n number of videos which are ready to be published. Actually we are not getting a bit time to create a video and publish all the interview experiences. So but very soon we will be doing all those things. So if you haven't subscribed us, please do subscribe, and if you want to share your interview experiences, feel free to reach out us at the below given email ID in the description. So this was about ourselves. So today I would like to give, like we are getting a lot of mails and a lot of comments in the comment section regarding how to that they are not getting calls like from Naukri or from some platform. So today I'm going to give a quick a small thing that I follow on Naukri. So what are the things that needs to be keep in mind on Naukri? Like, so if you see this slide, firstly check your profile completeness. It should be 100%. So only then it would I would say it would get into the results. And in the second pick, if you see, so see there the location, you be sure like what location you are in, because many times we see that gets defaulted to some other location itself. So interviewers might not take in. And other apart from that, check your contact details, whether your phone number is correct and the email ID that you are given there is correct or not. And check please check like whether there are any pending actions that needs to be completed or that needs to be addressed. So these are the few things that needs to be addressed, and in the next slide I will explain how actually a recruiting consultancies work. So basically, if you take the key skill sections, this is a place in Naukri where you enter your all your technological stack there. So whenever a recruiter or a consultancy agent search, so based on the keywords that you are given in the key skills, your Naukri profile gets like that fetches the Naukri profile. But the key part here is when they download your resume, if you don't have this section, like if you see this is my resume, and in the environment there is one section I have created, environment, what environment I have used or what technologies I have used in that project. So I have used Java 1.8, Angular, REST, microservices, Spring Boot. So this is the main section which recruiters or consultancy agents will look at. So have you used, see I may know Apache Camel, but I haven't used Apache Camel in any of my in the project. So even though if the requirement if is for Apache Camel, as I haven't used in any of my project, they will not call me. So this is the section where you need to mention actually like what technologies you have used in your project. So this was a quick thing I wanted to share. So coming to the questions, the first question was create a REST service and add authentication to it. So the question seems very easy, but to implement it took a lot of time, because I was asked to write the entire code here. So I have used like Spring Boot here. So using Spring Boot I have created a REST service, and coming to the authentication part, I just rewrote the code which we are currently using in our project. The same way I have implemented here, like we are using JWT token thing to for authentication purpose. So I have used the same thing here and tried to explain him in the code in detail. So basically this was a he asked me to write the code for entire logic, like it was like building up a real time REST service. So I have to do that. It really took a lot of time, to be honest. And coming to the next question, how did you establish database connection in your application? So basically we are using like, in my current application we use MyBatis. So I have explained him in detail like how we are making use of MyBatis and how we are connecting it to the DB. Like DB we are using Oracle. So all the steps and procedure, the entire procedure I have explained him, how to connect and how many number of connections we are creating in the production. And it was a deep dive here. It's just not a simple question I have for the to make you understand. I have written this in a simple manner, but there was a deep dive into it. Like, are you using multi-threading? How are you opening connection? How many connections will be active? Like how you will be closing the connections and all such kind of things. Whereas, then the next question is explain dependency injection with example. So when I started explaining him the dependency injection, there was a deep discussion on it, like how it is interrelated to IOC, what benefit actually we are getting in dependency injection. Is dependency injection is a concept that came upon in Spring. To be honest, it was earlier there. Even with the plain core Java we can design dependency injection. So even he was asking me that kind of questions as well. Just to give an idea, I am saying this. Coming to the next question, explain how singleton works in Spring. So firstly, there was a in this was in my second technical round, this question was asked to me. So before that, there was a big discussion on singleton, like normal Java singleton design pattern. There I was asked to create a singleton, customize singleton class. Basically I was asked to write a code to create a singleton class. Then after that he started questioning me on this, like how it is different, like how Spring singleton is different compared to singleton design pattern in Java. So I have to explain him in detail, like per one container we'll be having one instance. So that is the difference in compared to Spring and Java, normal plain Java. So coming to the next question, how did you handle exceptions in your application? So here he asked me the entire flow, like whenever a service call is made and somewhere something got failed, how I am handling it and how I am sending back the response to it. So what like all the scenarios, like what if an unknown exception is getting raised and how will you handle that kind of scenarios. So I have to explain him that also, like how we will handle the unknown exceptions that will get raised, maybe mostly like null pointer exception, like and what kind of code you will send it to UI, whether you will send 500 or you will send 200 and pass the exception to it, exception message in that JSON response. Like those kind of questions were asked. So next question was, tell me about everything you know in Spring Boot. So this was a very, like we have almost like 15 to 20 minute discussion on this, because they were basically looking out for someone who is good at Spring Boot. Maybe they are using the Spring Boot in their application. So he was talking about, he was like questioning me on each and every feature of Spring Boot, like why it came up, what is the benefit of that feature, how are we integrating that, like if you want to use it, what all dependencies we need. So that kind of questions were asked. The next question is, what is the importance of hash code and equals method? So basically question came up when we were discussing hash map. So when I was explaining the internal implementation of hash map, then this question raised, like what is the importance of hash code and equals method, and what will happen if we don't override hash code and equals method, or what will happen if we uh, like don't implement it in a proper way. So what scenarios, like what problems we will face. So these kind of uh, questions were asked, like what is hash collision, and that kind of questions, like entirely on collection those questions were asked. So coming to the next question, how will you configure your server to serve more requests? So basically the question came up when I was explaining him the architecture of my project itself. So there he question raised this question, like how are you configuring your server so that it can serve more number of requests. So to be honest, I was not much aware on this part thing, like how we are configuring. Like, I know like there are multiple servers we configure, but one server, like how many requests it should handle, that I was not aware of it. And I said the same thing, like I don't know exactly how we are configuring it, but I know how to configure multiple servers, how to balance the load and all those things. The next question was a basic one, like explain about string builder and string buffer. So explained in detail about this all these three classes, and in which scenario I will use which class, like which scenario which class is suitable. So that kind of questions were asked. Differences between list and map, and in what scenario we use which class. So basically I have to explain him in detail, like why, in which scenarios we will use list, and what advantages we get when we use map. So basically map use key value pairs, and you list use array of objects, like. So in detail I have explained him. The next question was, what is hash set? Explain internal working of hash set. So hash set internally uses map. So I have to explain him in detail, like this was again asked me in second round. In the first round I was already encountered like how internally hash map works. In the second round this question was asked, like how hash set is working internally. So hash set also uses hash map internally. So explain him the same. Coming to the next question, differences between soap and rest. So explain him in the detail in details, like what are the differences between soap and rest. Then he started counter questioning, like who is going to decide like which you are using, whether to use soap or rest. So I said, like we have architects who are going to take this call. We may suggest them to use which services, web services, but final call is theirs. The next question is, how will you handle the scenario where immutable class contains mutable objects? So we need to do a deep cloning here, to be honest. And there was many questions on immutable classes, like do all the variables need to be final? What will happen if we are providing setters? And such kind of questions were asked here. Explain internal implementation of concurrent hash map. So explain him in details, like how concurrent hash map works here, like based on segments it works, and how what is the like in which scenarios we should use concurrent hash map, and what advantage it is adding over the uh, normal hash map. Then the question was next question was, what is cloning and why do we need cloning? So explain him like what is cloning, and in which scenarios we go for cloning. So basically this question arises when I was explaining him the uh, creating of immutable classes. So there I said him, like we need to do deep cloning. Then the question is like, what is deep cloning, what is shallow cloning, as well what is cloning, what is the importance of it. Then the question was on explain at the ref media type annotation. So explain him in detail, like what is media type annotation here. This was a basic question. Then the question was on what is microservices. So what is microservice according to me? So I have explained in detail like what is microservice and what advantage we are getting if we are going with microservices. The next question is, suppose there is a service performing transaction and other is checking balance. How will you handle this? So explain in detail, like this was a real time example that he gave me. Like there is one service which is performing some transaction, like it is debiting the money from my account, and at the same time other services trying to check the balance. So how will you handle this? So explain him in detail, like how in what all ways we can handle this. There are couple of ways we can do this, so explain all the ways which I know. How do you test a REST API which has authentication? So to be honest, this was a bit tricky for me. I know we can how to test a REST services, but with the authentication I was not aware of it. So if you know the answer, please do comment in the comment section so that I will come to know it. The next question is, what is MongoDB and how it is different from relational DB? So explain him like why we should go for MongoDB and in which scenarios we should go for MongoDB and how it is different from relational DB. The next question is, so these were the questions. Basically, those were asked to me, and there were other questions as well, which I haven't covered. Like their basic generic questions, like explaining about the project architecture, and explaining about the collection hierarchy, explaining about serialization and deserialization. There were like basic questions that we always encounter in different interviews, like explaining about oops concepts, explaining solid principles. So these kind of questions were also asked, which I haven't covered because I believing that most of you might be knowing that, as these are mandatory interview questions. So this was about the interview process with Synechron. So coming to the feedback of the interview, so I would say overall a very good interview process. So salary offered was 15 lakhs per annum, and for the experience level 6.2. Like actually when I was attending the interview it was 5.11, so I would say 6 years of experience I got 15 lakhs of package offer, which I feel very is a very good thing. So if you haven't subscribed us, please do subscribe or at least share these videos to other technical platforms so that it might be helpful to others. Please do like, comment, provide your feedback whether you like the video or not. So with this I would like to stop the recording as well.